I asked this assignment for your understanding purpose only, because previously we are taking that object by hard coded values only. Okay, every object JSON values and object things solve the hard coded value, and based on the hard coded data we have been executed some works. Okay, so for your understanding, for your planning practice purpose only, I give that assignment. Okay, by the real time data. It is also a dummy data only, but it is get from that API and showing that in the UI. Okay, that purpose only I give that assignment. But most of them are tried by yourself. She tried by herself only. Okay, what about second one? What is Redux? Who is going to tell about props drilling? Initially, props drilling. What is props drilling?
Props drilling is where you call upon multiple classes to, you need to, the data needs to pass through only single class, but to access that class, it has to go through multiple classes to reach that class. This creates time lag and a certain integrity loss of data. To avoid this, what you will do is you will isolate that one specific, for example, if you are creating a user,
okay,
and the data needs to be sent into profile,
okay,
but in the number of classes are user, time taken, security level, roles assigned and all that, and after that you get to profile.
okay.
So rather than going through all of this and then sending the data in the profile class,
Okay.
what you will do is you will take out the profile class, you will keep it separate, you will complete this and then do supply the data to the profile class after creation of the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that you will not, there won't be any time lag or there won't be any data integrity loss.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, to the best of my understanding, I got that.
What once again said that?
I mean, I understood as far as application process goes.
Okay,
I
okay.
didn't understand the theory. This thing.
Mm.
What I understood is, for example, you are an employer. I am an employee. I recently joined your company.
Mm.
So what you will do? You will create an employee ID. You will create my profile.
Okay.
You will give me access to certain systems.
Mm.
You will ask me to do the work on those systems only. So what you will do? You will constrain me to those systems.
Mm.
So to create that employee ID, you to create that user in your server, what you will do, you will generate a profile of mine. The HR generates a profile. They will send it to the user creation team. What they will do, they will take that profile. Based on that, they will create the profile. They will assign me the security clearances and all that. But what happens in props drilling, as far as I understood, is to enter the data of the profile in when creating the user, when creating the login. What you are doing, you are accessing multiple classes to enter the profile data. Rather than that, what we can do is, rather than entering all these classes and keeping the data stable and then supplying the data, what you will do is you will first create the user ID. You will assign the which systems access he needs to have. You will give the designated role and all that. You will complete the basic basic skeletal of the user, and then after that, at the end, after all these operations are completed, you take the profile and you will assign it to the profile class, so that it will do the operation separately. You won't have any time lag or data integrity loss.
Okay.
It's going to be lengthy.
That props drilling he says correct only. Okay. Here he says that every classes I need to say pass the props. Okay. But in the React there is no classes. There is everything is a component. Okay. From the topmost component to childmost component, I need to send the data. Okay. Here see I have one application. In that application I have a many dashboards, like many components I have. Okay, each component is related to the another component. Okay, in like that I need to pass the data from the parent component to the childmost component. Okay, in that type of a thing I need to pass that property. I need to pass that value from the parent class to child class, like a property, like a props. Okay, What is mean by props? Property. Based on the property, it's using that based on the using that property in that component. Okay, property value. Okay, like don't have that. Okay, just say with an example. Okay, I have an application. Okay, I need to store that value user's value. Okay, while logging, I take that user's value from the API. I store it in the one place. Okay, now didn't assign that place. Okay, I store it in the one place. Okay, without storing that value, I have been passed. I need to pass that value to the every component. Whenever I need the user's value, I need to pass to that every value. Okay, this is hard to maintain because I have 100 of components. I need to pass that value to the 100 of components. If I miss in one component means the data will be lost. Okay, if there is no data means it won't gives that data values. Okay, like I have a 4 to 5 parent class. Okay, in the from the 0th class to 4th class I need to pass that props. In the second class I miss that data. In the second component I miss that value of the props. Okay, then in the 4th component doesn't receive that. Okay, this type of to avoid this type of errors we can be use that state management. Okay, what is state management in React? Which one is most widely used? Which one?
Redux.
Redux. Other things?
Context API for shared.
Okay, context API. Then?
Use state for local.
Okay. What is use state? Okay, you will be see that on all those concepts in that React. Okay, in that hook concepts you will be see that. I will be tell about that Redux. Okay. Now we are in the HTML page. If I need to store that value outside of the React DOM, so outside of the HTML DOM, I have been using that local storage, session storage, like that things I have been using. Okay, to store that value inside that front end only, not by using that backend, inside that front end only, like a same like a session storage. Okay, while I went out, while I log out, that storage need to refresh. Okay, that type of things I have need to use that the Redux storage. Okay. Okay, Redux is there is a two types. One is a Redux, another one is a advanced level of Redux, that is a Redux toolkits. Okay, by the Redux we need to create that store, and in that store I need to define that actions. What are the actions like incrementing, decrementing, and storing that value? This type of actions I need to store it in the another file, and I need to create a slice in the another file. For slice means I need to update that value. I need to fetch that value from the store. For that thing I have been need to declare that slice. Okay, but in the Redux that all the things are happen in the separate file. Okay, but in the Redux toolkit, that is the advance of the Redux that used to that allow user to create all those slices and all those name assigning and data variable actions, everything in the single file. Okay, if I just go with a single file, and I have been using that multiple store. Okay, in that data in that application I have been need to in that assume that resume pilot. Okay, assume resume pilot in that application I have been need to store that user data and resume data and that edit data. Edit data means I have go to edit and edit data. I have created that 3 stores. Okay, there is no connection between those stores. Okay, everything is a different data. I did just fetch the data and store it in the store. Okay, by for that I have been created all those 3 stores in the separate file, and for those stores I have been created the separate slices. Okay, by using that slices I have been able to fetch the data. Inside the slices there is a 2 things. One is a use selectors and another one is a dispatch. Okay, By using the dispatch, I can be able to update the data. Okay, by using actions. Have you understand that how to we create the store? Okay, like I am using 3 stores in the same application. How it is happening? Have you understand? Okay, after that I need to create the slices. Inside the slices there is something like actions and the names. Okay, by using that actions I can be able to update that value in the store. Okay, by using that use selectors, that is also one of the hook only. Okay, by using that hook I can be able to fetch the data from the slice. That's it. Okay, okay, have you understand that props drilling, how to overcome is using? Okay, for that thing we have need to use another one thing, that is a use context, that is a context API. Okay, I just put that values in the context. Okay, by declaring all those values in the context API I can be by using that provider. Okay, two things, context and the provider. Okay, by using use context I declare all those values in the use context, and by using the provider and wrapping this application, whole application in the how to say provider. Okay, in that provider I pass the data, I can be able to fetch the data in whatever component I can use. Okay, that is the two things, use context and Redux. By briefly you will be see all of those in the React session. Okay, while how we can handle the data, how will we pass those another components, and all of them sir we will be seeing in that React classes. Okay, and now what things we see in last class, what are the topics?
Fetching, promises,
Promises,
Lazy.
chaining, asynchronous,
callback help, then
Lazy.
mm,
asynchronous,
okay, main thing is we see that in that promises. Okay, exceptions. Okay, we see that promises. Okay, in the promises what are the three main things? Fulfill,
rejected, pending.
pending. Okay, two things, sorry, three things. How we create the promises? Const any variable and new promise. By using constructor new promise, inside that two things, reject and resolve. Okay, if I have a value in resolve, how I catch them? How I show that in output? I have a value, I have a fulfilled my request. Okay, fulfill my promise. I need to show send this to the calling function. Okay, how I send that? I have a value in result. How to know that? Dot then. Okay, if value is result, then it will be showing the dot then. If value is rejected, okay, my promise is rejected, then it will be catch in the catch, dot catch. What is the use of dot finally? It is rejected or fulfilled. Okay, you show that output. Okay, this promise is fulfilled. Okay, the promise is done. That things you will be showing. What is chaining? Promise chaining. Using multiple then. Based on the previous then, executing that another then. Okay, that is a chaining, promise chaining. Okay, then what is the use of async and await? Have you heard that async functions? Can you able to explain that async?
Async is process will be independent of time.
Yeah, same like that promises. We will be executing that promises by using async functions. Okay, here we don't need to create multiple then. We don't need to wait for the previous then to complete. Okay, we can be execute multiple promises in the single function. Okay, for that thing we can be use that async functions. Okay, just declare that function by using the async keyword, that will be async. And await. Await means we need
Waiting
to
for the promise.
waiting to fulfill that promise. That's why we are using that await. Okay, here in that why we need to use async instead of that then promises. What is the reason to use async instead of promises? Two things are do same thing. In the under the JavaScript code, it will be execute as a same manner only. What is the use of that?
You know the
So if the
output of
application is lengthy, code will be messy.
Okay, if I am a new user, I am a fresher to read this code. Okay, if that code is containing that multiple callbacks. Okay, inside that then we will be assigning that executing the callbacks only. Okay, if the code is having the multiple callbacks or multiple then cases, then how I will be able to easily understand that? Okay, to overcome this, we have using that async function. Async function is for the JavaScript. Async function is a synthetic sugar. Okay, this is synthetic sugar means you writing the code convenient way, but executing the same thing. That no changes in the execution. Writing way or showing that in the structure, that will be different. Okay, we use this in another way also. Sorry, another concept also. We have one synthetic sugar in JavaScript. Which one? In a convenient way, we have been how to say, writing a code in a convenient way. We have been using in another thing. Another concepts also we have been using that. What about ternary operator? No. Why we use ternary operator? This is a convenient way. Okay. Instead of using if else if, we can only use the ternary operator. Okay. This is a convenient way, and we can be execute that single line executions of the code. Okay. That type of things we can use that ternary operator. And another thing. Okay.
So will arrow functions also be async?
Arrow function.
Similar to synthetic.
Yeah.
Because you are simplifying the code
Yeah.
and at the same time
Yeah,
doing the
which
same
are the
operation.
things are simplifying the code and showing in the code structure is in a convenient way, that is called as a synthetic sugar. Okay? Synthetic sugar is nothing, that is a convenient way. Like.
Arrow function also works like that.
Okay, we can be, shall we use that await in outside of the async? Shall we use that? It's work or not? If I try to use that await in a normal function, it won't work. Okay, because if that function is async function, okay, it don't depend on that anything or don't barrier for any execution. Inside that only we have to use that await. Okay, based on that it wait for some time and execute that remaining code. Okay, in the promises it will be ensure that I promise you I will be give the data. Okay, but in the async await, pass that code, I will be execute. Okay, what is the difference between them? Same thing only, it will be give the data after some time, but in the async function it won't affect anything. In the promises also it won't affect anything. Same thing only, but the execution manner, that is some difference. Okay, here see. Okay, you will be write this function in the async way. Okay. Someone tell what is the difference between these two? What is the difference between these two things? Here I have been using then and catch.
If in the previous fetch program you are fetching the data from the API file,
Okay.
then you are assuming you have to this thing then and catch. In if the response is true, then you are taking the data, you are converting it to JSON, and then using the arrow function you are sending the data to the HTML this thing. But in the bottom one, you are using asynchronous and await functions. What is happening is it will wait for a certain period till all the data is received, and then
Okay.
convert.
See here. Here there is a main difference is it assuming is as a callback function. Okay. The main thing is it's assuming is as a callback function. Just go and if it is way and if the response is done and after that this will be executed. Okay. Here see here the assuming the response as a normal variable. Okay, there is a no need for assuming that as a callback function and don't need to execute that, don't need to wait for that. Okay, it just it will be wait. Okay, it will be wait to execute this line. Okay, to wait that wait for the fetch. Okay, but it assuming that value as a normal variable, not a callback, not a function, anything else. Okay, here it just gather that value in the response and showing it in the console. It will be also give that same thing only. Okay, same response will be given, but the executions of the lines may be different. Okay, if I see this is a normal function only. Okay, this is a normal function only. Here I need to store that value. I need to handle the exceptions. What should I need to do? Here I handle that exception by using that catch. Okay, here I need to handle that exception. How I will be handle that?
You can use a while only while the response is true, the fetching and all that happens, else it will not.
Okay, I mean said. What is the question I asked? What is the question?
Like how can we find the error? Like how can we catch the statement?
Error.
Okay. How we handle that error? In Java, how we handle that error?
Exception handling.
Exception handling. Same like that, we can be use that try catch.
Right.
Okay, by using the try catch, we can be handle that error. Okay. What is the object oriented test?
Developing application by using objects and classes.
Okay. Then JavaScript is object oriented or not?
Yes.
How?
Not an object.
No, JavaScript.
JavaScript is object oriented or not?
No.
Shall we implement that object oriented topics in JavaScript? Is possible? How?
You need to create.
For now, we doesn't know about classes. How it is possible? For those guys say yes, they explain that. How it is possible to implement that object oriented concepts in JavaScript. Okay, what are the pillars in object oriented programming?
Polymorphism, abstraction, inheritance, encapsulation.
Encapsulation. Okay, polymorphism, abstraction, inheritance, exception. Okay. Okay, I need to implement that inheritance here. How I do that? It is possible. In Java, how we done an inheritance
Extending a class.
from the parent class? Okay. Here, see that base thing is here everything is a prototype. Okay, in the JavaScript, everything, every object, every like classes, array, object, okay, everything in the JavaScript, it will be act as a prototype. Okay, here while it's executing, it create one prototype. Based on that prototype only it's going to execute, based on that, not a variable. Okay, based on here getting the data in the data means here it's also creating one prototype. Okay, if I am declaring anything in object, that also having some prototypes. Okay, what is mean by prototype in normal outside of the program? What is mean by prototype?
Prototype is basic trial version.
Trial version, like if I am going to build an application, that my application is looks like this only, I am saying like that, that is a prototype. Same like that, the prototype in JavaScript, like my data is like this only. Okay, my data, these are my data, it's showing like this only. Okay, okay, in that async functions we can be use the try catch also. Okay, just same like the other languages, just execute this, and if it shows any error, show catch that error. Okay, that's it. That is a syntax here in the JavaScript. Okay, and then if I am going to execute multiple promises, here this one are promises. Okay, this fetch off is a one promises. Okay, same like that, I am going to execute another promises. The response to and another one. Okay, I need to fetch 3 promises. I need to fulfill the 3 promises in the JavaScript. Okay, assume that here the waiting time is 2 seconds. How it will be execute this? How the execution will be happen here?
First response 1, response 2, response 3. Because it's an iterative.
Okay, I am saying, see this. Every await, you need to wait for the 2 seconds. Okay, here there is a 3 promises.
Yes.
I need to fulfill the 3 promises. How I can be able to fulfill? How many time? How long it take?
6 seconds.
6 seconds. Okay, you need to wait for here first. Okay, assume that it's line by line executions only. It assuming the JavaScript execution assuming is as a not a callback or anything else. Line by line executions only. Okay, is executing from the first line and came to the second line. It takes the 2 seconds. After that it takes the 2 seconds. After that it takes the 2 seconds. Then overall 6 seconds it's needed to execute the 3 promises. Okay, but assume that I have a function as async function. Okay, in that single function only I have been need to execute 3 promises. Okay, why I need to wait for 6 seconds? This is a async only. Okay, why I need to wait for 6 seconds?
Even inside async
I can be able to execute all of that await promises in a single time. Okay.
You can create 3 async functions and individually put 3 different responses in each async function.
See
Because
here.
you are grouping 3 responses in one async function,
Hmm.
and in that async function it's a line by line iteration. So if you make it 3 different async functions,
What is the use of that? That is not a programmatical way. See, if I going to create, see, I have a response 1 and response 2 and response 3. Okay, I am going to create like for the response 1 one async function, for the response 2 one async function. That also take the same time only.
Why it will be parallel?
Okay, it will be parallel. Okay,
2
it will
seconds,
be parallel.
complete in
But
2 seconds.
how many times I need to write the same code? I need to write same code for how many times I need to write?
Maybe 3 times.
Nearly 3 times. Same code I am writing for same method and calling that method. What is the use of that? Okay, writing you try to write the code in a convenient way. Okay, that's why I asked you to use that object destructuring. Okay, this is a simple program or large program, large application, whatever it is. Okay, maintain the stability.
You can't use loops, sir.
Huh?
You can't use loops, sir.
How I can be use that loops in that function? I can be able to use that functions, but now I am calling that same API. Okay, if I am going to call different APIs like books and here
Table.
students. Okay, this type of three different API I need to call. Then how can I loop that? That can be also done, but I need to declare that API in another file. Okay, one by one get that API and execute that function one by
It will
one.
also take that much amount of time.
That also same thing only. What is the use of that? Okay,
Code
here.
It is not break.
Hmm?
It is not break the code.
Which one?
When the asynchronous function is running,
Okay, I understood. While we are calling that asynchronous function multiple times, what is the use of using that asynchronous function? I can we use that simple promises only or callback only.
Code complexity will be simple if
For-
we use asynchronous.
Yeah,
If
that is a
No, what you are asking is why do we need asynchronous? If you are calling line by line, you can use then function, then dot only, dot then only. Why do we need asynchronous function? But what happens in then it awaits one condition. After that it goes. It's similar to prop drilling only. It happens. You will go step by step. You may lose data integrity and all.
That's
To
why
avoid
we are
that, you
using
asynchronous.
Okay. That thing, I'm just a simple thing. I need to execute 2 or 3 promises. I can be use that promise all. Okay. Just using like this. Inside the response, I just need to wait. Okay. Okay, I declare all those promises in that array. Okay, I declare all those promises in the array, but by using that promises dot all. Okay, this by using that promises dot all, it is going to execute all of the promises at a single time. Okay, all those promises are going to execute in a single time only. If it is a correct API, means it will be gives that response also. See that APIs are different. Okay, it won't will be gives that response. If the APIs are the actual APIs, we are using that in a await by using all those promises in a single array like promise dot all. Okay, inside that promise dot all, I am going to execute that 3 or 4 whatever how many promises I am going to execute means that will be gives that actual data. Okay. Okay, then
Sir, what is the use of promise of, I mean, as far as application based is concerned?
yesterday I take that thing only.
No,
Okay.
promise all, I mean.
Promise all. Okay. If I have a one dashboard, okay, I have collect all those data for the dashboard from the different APIs. From that, like here, assume that this is this the like insert, design, play, page layout. All of them are the
API.
one APIs, okay, one components, okay. For this component, I need to collect this data, okay, from the API, okay. I need to collect. While clicking that, I need to collect the data, okay. Instead of I'm showing like every tab, any dashboard. See, this is on dashboard UI. Okay, here there are the data like total project, ended project, running project, pending project, and project analytics, reminders, project team collaborations, project progress. There are the many data. Okay, here this all the data are coming from one API. This all the data, project analytical data that are come from the one API, and the reminders that will come from the one API, and projects, what are the ongoing projects that are come from the one API. This type of a UI, I need to have another one API. See here only 1, 2, 3, 4 APIs are there. Okay, for one UI, I need to call 4 times, 4 APIs in the 4 times. Okay. That is not a good thing. I only using that data here only, but I need to call 4 times 4 APIs.
No, I understood that part. Like you took this UI, for example, this is a real-time page. I click on, for example, team collaboration to expand that page.
Okay.
So what happens in the back end as far as the API access is concerned when you use to promise all? That is what my question.
I using, see, I don't going to use different thing. I going to same API, same thing for the every actions. Okay. Here I have a API that show only the data. Okay. This data is only total projects, ended project, running project. That data only that API hold. Okay. Another API hold project analytics. Another API hold reminders. Another API hold project, same like the team collaboration. Okay. Here that show the data only. If I go to actions, if I go to expand the team collaborations, then I need to navigate that page. Okay. That time, what are the things are in the team collaborations?
That
Like
API only you will access.
that API I need to call in that page. Okay. That's why I am saying I need to call whenever I need the API, then time only I need to call. Okay, if I need that API, I am going to call. Otherwise, I won't touch it. Okay, if we are going to using Tanstack. Okay, Tanstack is a one query, use query. Like okay, in the applications we have been using the Tanstack queries. Okay, it's going to call that API. Okay, like React DOM, if I am manipulating, like capture the clicking, while that time you call that API, I am saying that. Okay, but in the React app, we won't say that. Okay, instead of we have been using the Tanstack query. By the Tanstack query, in this page, gather that data. I am typing that, I am coding that, how to say, I am writing that code like that. In this page, go fetch that, call that API. In the query, we will be assigned that. Okay, in the Tanstack query, we will be assigned that. Okay, for that type of things in the dashboard UI or anything else, based on the situation, we have been using the promise all. Based on the situation, we can be use that simple promise only. Okay. Then closure. In the mathematical, what is mean by closure? Closure property. What is closure property in mathematics? Most of them are BTech BE students. I am correct? Most of them, sir. There is a M1, M2 that mean paper. What is closure? I think this is M1 paper. Closure property. Okay. In that different type of definitions in that. Okay. If for the closure means if I am declaring in that formulas means it related to the another thing. Okay. In related to the another variable, that means the closure. Here in the JavaScript, the closure means accessing the data. What thing we do in that encapsulation? How it will be executed in the encapsulation? How it will be executed? What process running in the encapsulation?
Initializing the values of the variables.
Okay. Then
Hiding the data from the user.
why we need to hide that from specific user? Only for a user. Okay. Encapsulation means declaring that variable in the private part and accessing that variable by using getter and setter. Okay. By different method. We can't access by using the same method. By different method, we can going to access that method, access that variable by getter and setter. Okay, same like that. Okay, here we are not exactly same like that. Here we are going to use that variable that is how to say. Okay, we are going to create our own function. Okay, that function is related to the variable outside of the function. That's it. Closure. Okay, we are going to execute, why we need to create our own function? The function is a set of code that going to execute one set of action. Okay, for that action, that function is related to the another variable that is outside of the function, outer scope. Okay, like what is meant by scopes? There are two scopes, global scope, that is a function scope, and another one is a, you said what is that? Global scope, and another one local scope. Okay, that is a block scope. Okay, here we are going to access that variable in the global scope. That's it. What will be the output here? Right? What is the output here? It just I am going to call that function. While calling that function, it increment that value. That's it. Increment the value and showing in the console. What will be the output here?
1 and 2.
1.
1 and 1.
One is
1 and
Others?
1.
1.
1 and 1.
Mm.
1.
Yeah, because every time I am going to call that, incrementing that value, it assigning that count as 0 and increment that value and print that. Okay, this type of a things it's executing like confusing, like it's going to redeclare that value, redefine that value as a 0 and incrementing that value. It will be continually looping. For avoiding that thing, I am declaring this count outside of the loop, outside of the function. Okay, then I am going to increment that value. Then it will be happen. That incremental will be happen. Okay, that is a closure property. I am initializing that value outside of the function and accessing that function. Okay, what is heap and the stack memory? What if I am going to declare that variable, where it is will be stored?
Stack memory allocation will be the stack memory.
What is stack?
Data stored
In the data structure, what is mean by stack?
data is stored one on
One on one. In the queue,
Last.
queue side by side.
side by side.
Last in order, stack data as we
Yes.
we can retrieve directly, but in a queue, if we push a data into that, we can access that in the
Okay, not a correct explanation. She is correct. First in,
first in,
first in, last in, first out is a stack. Q means first in, first out. Okay, here in that while I am declaring that variable, if the data are going to store in that which memory? I am going to declare that count equal to 0. Then what will be happen? It is storing in heap or stack. It is going to store in the stack. Okay. If I am using that count in the outside of the function, it going to store which place? Why?
because it is a global variable
No,
instance.
all the variables
Okay.
of the method.
Okay, one second. I am declaring that. Okay, in the outside of the function. What will be happen?
Memory allocation of the function will be happening in the stack memory.
Okay, for that count,
Keep memories.
why? What is the reason?
Because it is accessed by the all the file.
Okay, which are the data stored in the heap?
Used all over the
reference.
code.
Reference data. Okay, that you are saying that same thing, but that terminology is reference data are stored in the heap, and that normal primitive data are stored in the stack. Okay, here this is the primitive data only. Even though it's primitive data, its references is using here inside that function. So this value is stored in the heap memory. Okay, here I am going to now what will be the output here?
1 and 2.
Yeah, because I am storing that value in the heap and by the reference I am updating that value. That's it. Okay, that is a closure. Okay, same like that encapsulation also. I will be explain that in the we will be see that in the next class. Okay, how to use encapsulation, how to use inheritance in JavaScript. Okay, that all the things are we will be see in the next class. Okay, now for today's assignment, what is the use? I give that assignment, nobody will be not going to finish that. What is the use of assignment? Tell Anil.
Right, sir.
Tried means that code is in your system only. No? If you tried means you got some errors, then that time only you need to say I tried, I can't get that output without opening that system. Same like Cedric Muthu.
I agree, sir.
How you try it? Okay. Those who are not submitted that assignments, come with the assignments. Okay. That fetch the data and show in the UI. Okay. Come with the assignments, and I will be share the quiz also in the Telegram group. Complete those things. Okay. I will be check that. That quizzes contains this week's sessions only. Okay. But any doubt in that assignment, first assignment?
In the fetch one.
Hmm.
Sir, one doubt I have, it's like, because we know there are 10 people,
Hmm.
we can hard code it as 10. I mean, the table, number of rows, we can, if we want, we can hard code it as 10. But if we don't know, we need the table
Why
to
we
be
need to
dynamic.
hard code the data?
I'm
you
talking
in
about the
the-
rows, the number of rows, I'm talking about number of rows.
That's why I'm asking, what is the use of DOM manipulation there? Are you in the class of DOM manipulation?
But
You done that name generator, no?
name generator I did do.
That is a DOM manipulation.
I did only.
Use that in that problematic way, okay? In that thing also, there is a one div. We create the card and push it into that div. Okay. Same like that, assume that. How to do that by using that table. By using the DOM manipulation only, it will be possible.
If we use the API file and extract it as JSON, we will get an array saying that n number of people are there. We will use that the array size as the number of rows we need in the table.
For that, we have a lot of array methods. Okay, just to see that basic concepts. Okay, cover those concepts. After that, do you have that syllabus sheet? Okay, I will be share that in the group. Okay, in the previous class topics are there. Okay, just to see that go through the topics. After that, start that working.
Sir, today's notes also. please.
Okay, I will be do that.
Yesterday you shared yesterday's notes, right? Today's notes.
Okay. Okay, just done with using the DOM manipulation. Okay. Any doubts? Okay. Okay, thank you guys.
Advanced wrapping.
Happy New Year.